Well, I could have been live and not known it, but I don't think that I was. Was just trying to set my stream up and then my button disappeared. So this is just always the joy of having rural internet. But what I am going to tell you is that it's not a joy to go to parent-teacher conferences and learn that your child is struggling. And so let's talk a little bit about that because it is that time of the year where you're going to be going in for your parent-teacher conferences, and I want you to be ready to go. Now, at the end of this, I will include a link in the comments of a video that I did probably last year about this time about parent-teacher conferences and what you can do to prepare. But if you've already had that and you've been left with an uneasy feeling of like, ooh, maybe I should be doing more, and then you didn't think to ask that question, make sure that you're proactive and reach out to your child's teacher and just say, hey, I have been thinking a little bit about, what I had been, asking questions about or what you were telling me about. And I'd like to have some actionable steps that we can take at home to solve whatever that problem is. So let's suppose that you go to parent-teacher conferences and you find out that your child is, a year or two behind in their reading. And maybe they don't specifically say that, but they're just like, they're just really having problems sounding out words. They make a lot of substitutions as they're reading. Maybe they're unable to read the directions on the page and they get confused. These are all red flags that your child is struggling with their reading. Let's say that you're talking about math and they're like, yeah, your child's really struggling with their math fact fluency. They can't come up with the answers. They're still counting on their fingers, which in some cases is a completely fine strategy to come up with an answer, but we don't want to rely on that all the time. Maybe your child doesn't know like the key words for when they're supposed to add or subtract, multiply or divide. Maybe they're in upper elementary and they don't really understand the meaning of the word variable and how to work with a variable, or maybe they're getting the complex formulas and they just can't sort everything out. Perhaps you're talking to them about science or social studies, and maybe your child's just having a hard time getting through all of the information and they're just really behind. These are things that should perk your ears up and you should be like, ooh, wait, I'm hearing that my child's behind. I think the first thing that you should say is, okay, thank you for the information. Can you tell me what you're doing about it? Okay, because I think that, that should be the first question. Well, how's this being handled in the classroom? But secondly, you do need to ask, what can we do about it? And the teacher will give you some ideas, okay? And whatever you hear, I want you to take action on that. So don't just go, oh, they told us we should do this, and then tell your child to do it. That's like telling your child to make sure that their room is cleaned up every single day. That's like that wish list that we'd like to have, right? It's probably not going to happen unless you're monitoring them and maybe helping them a little bit. Like, here's the clothes basket. Would you put all of your dirty clothes in there? And then I'm going to have you take it downstairs. I wouldn't just say, my child's struggling with reading, they need to read more. Oh, here's this book. I'm just going to make up a title that comes into my head. Island of the Blue Dolphins. And I hand it to my third grader. And my third grader cannot read it. That's not going to help solve the problem. Giving the child a book that's not at their appropriate reading level, or maybe they can read it but they don't understand a word of it, that's not going to solve the problem. So you want to ask very specific questions like, well, what should we be doing at home? What does that look like? Can you give us some things to practice? And then actually use those things. And the thing is that the teachers are going to be really busy, okay? So don't expect this huge long list of things that are going to come home. Maybe just say, hey, can you give us a few things to work on for the next month, and then I'll check back with you when we've used those. Or find out if they're doing any progress monitoring, and what does that look like at school? Does that look like every week they're going to check in with the child to see if they're making gains? And if they're not, what is the school doing about it? Because you don't want your child to be behind. Once they get behind, I'm telling you, it is really a long process to get them caught up. I'm working with many, many students who are absolutely amazing human beings, but they were behind. Now they're getting caught up. We are making huge strides, but sometimes we want that progress to happen a lot faster. And when we wait, it just compounds the problem. How does this compound the problem? So let's say that your child is a second grader and they still can't really read. Okay, well, we're missing now kindergarten first, and now we're maybe in the middle of second grade. So they're already 2.5 years behind before you even like started to get help. And it's going to take at least that long for them to get caught up. I know nobody wants to hear that. No, but everybody wants a magic little potion or a spell. Bing! And the kids have the problems are solved. It is not that easy, and especially if the child has any kind of a learning problem. So maybe they have a specific learning disability. That's going to compound the progress, the slowing it down. So just think about, what can you be doing at home? And then imagine this as just you're going to take actionable steps and you're going to be very, very consistent with it. And over time, you are going to see the changes. So we're all adults, right? Let's say maybe you're struggling with high blood pressure. You are not just going to be given this little magic potion that you take and immediately you're going to see results. That's going to take actionable steps, not just that little pill, but it's going to take exercise and better sleep and maybe better hydration and all the things that your doctor's maybe going to list off. You can't just do one of them and expect it to happen. So if your child's struggling with a learning problem, one thing isn't going to solve the problem. It's going to be a complex situation and it's going to take some time. So I'm going to invite you to something. And actually, I'm just going to look at my Google Calendar in the background. On March 5th, it's not a live event, but we're going to post it on my YouTube page at Tutoring with Cheryl podcast on YouTube. I am going to sit down with Tina McMillan. She and I, we meet once a month and we pick a topic. And this month we're going to be talking about, I'm going to rephrase that, for the month of March. It's coming in March. We're going to be talking about why some kids don't like to read. Well, there's a lot of underlying issues as to why a child might not like to read, and it could be that there's a problem with their reading skills in general. So we're going to break that down for you. So I'm going to invite you to come back. I will definitely share that link. But if you have not pushed the like and follow on this page, I'm going to ask you to do that. I try to add things, quite a few things during the course of the week that are helpful for parents. And then also make sure that you are following along on YouTube so that you're getting that information. And that's really all I have for you today. So, if you're getting ready for parent-teacher conferences, make sure that you have your little list of questions. Don't ever be surprised if you get a report that maybe your child isn't doing as well as what you thought, because guess what? They're getting a lot of information. And, depending on if you've had a lot of snow days or bad weather days, that's going to compound the problem because maybe they're now expected to do some homework at home. And so you kind of need to jump in and play catch up there. So yeah, all those things just are those struggles that we have with our own children. If you have not had a consultation with me yet and you're thinking, hey, I want to talk to Cheryl a little bit more, you can find my contact page on my Tutoring with Cheryl website, and that link should be showing up here, but I will be sure to leave that in the comments. If you want to bypass that and just get right onto my calendar, I will also add that in the comments. All right, I'm going to wrap this up because you guys are busy people, and I want to thank you for joining me today. You guys make it a great day, and as usual, keep the learning going.